Immediately they get disabled, they are seen to be useless and not to be worthy of being in the workforce. So I'm saying that if this Congress cannot pronounce on that, it will be doing a disservice to disabled people. Lastly, as I sit, just recently at Spa, a worker got amputated by a machine. He was cut, his arm was cut by a machine and was retrenched as a result of that, instead of being retrained and even compensated for the accident. So I'm saying that the stories of disabled people are always annexed and left unattended to. So we would want Cosatu to work with DPSA in order to make sure that stories of disabled workers are carried by the Federation. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Lemosa, you are raising a very important issue. We welcome what you are raising as the Congress. I think Sakau must follow up on this worker who was dismissed at Spa. Just link up with the comrade there, because as far as I know, if you have injury on duty, you can't be dismissed on the basis of the disability that you sustained being on duty. If for whatever reason that injury can make you not to be able to work, you must be retrained. You must not be dismissed. Lemosa?
Okay, thank you, President. We stand to support the declaration and use this opportunity to emphasize the matter that was raised by Cosatu on the reconfiguration of the alliance vis-a-vis the decision of the South African Communist Party to contest state power. Was saying in the last elections that have taken place, which the matter that was mentioned by the President of Metsimaholo in his opening address, that as Cosatu, we were in a dilemma in that we had a Congress resolution on supporting the African National Congress, and therefore we could not have taken a decision to fully support the party in that. And because of that experience, we are saying that in support of what Cosatu has raised, we must clearly empower the Central Executive Committee of Cosatu to take that decision. If after 2019 elections, after all of us who have supported the ANC, and we still don't have a conclusion on the matter of the reconfiguration of the alliance, that the CC, this Congress empowers the CC of Cosatu to take the decision going forward in support of the party's resolution to contest state power. Thank you very much.
Dinosa?
Thank you, President. As Dinosa, we feel we cannot turn a blind eye on the esidimeni saka, which affected our mental health users, the families, and the employees, who some of them are our members. We are pleading with this Congress to include it in the declaration that we condemn our poor health system. Thank you.
Okay, can you propose a wording on that? Sakau, noted.
I hope I'll be correct, President. Cosatu condemns the poor health system in the country that led to the loss of lives of the mental health users, which affected their families, and also the employees that were affected by the esidimeni saka. I thank you.
Sakau.
Thank you, Comrade President. Comrade President, we want to propose to this Congress that this Congress should adopt the general trust of this declaration, and then the CEC should then finalize, because we are running a risk of overloading, because even some issues that we didn't hear being discussed in this Congress, all of a sudden are getting into the declaration. Thank you, Comrade President.
Well said. Don't respond, guest. Okay, let me give you a second chance. But I don't want to be unfair, but we have noted what you have raised.
Sorry, Comrade President, I'm not responding, but I just want to also give guidance on the issue of esidimeni. The issue, if we follow it in terms of the newspapers, may lead Cosatu into taking a populist view, because there's an issue as disabled people that we're taking around the issue of esidimeni, that the very same families that are said to be hurt, how does it become that you become 2 years aware of the death of your loved ones? Where were you? How do you become aware 6 months after a person has died, that person has died? So we are saying in that story, not all of it has been examined. It has only looked on the side of government, but not on the side of the families. So as we put that, we should make sure that it does not in any way, because as disabled people, we feel that story,
can you hold it there, because I can see now this issue, if it is not thoroughly handled, it can plunge us deeper into the mud.
Yes.
Now, my suggestion, are you not going to be comfortable with the proposal from Sakau? Because I want to address that proposal of Sakau. Can I get a seconder to Sakau? Pop crew? Noted clothing and textile. Okay.
Comrade President, Sakau indeed is assisting Congress. We second them.
Oh, clothing and textile, you wanted to say so. Thank you. That for the declaration is adopted with further fine-tuning in the CEC. Thank you. Can the election agency come forward now? And the president, let me be careful with English words now. The outgoing president, because we may seem to be undermining the elected president by calling everyone president now. The outgoing president, as Dumo Dlamini, wants to speak to the Congress just before the election agency declare the election results officially.
Thank you, President. Whilst the election is coming forward, indeed, Congress, I made that request, which with your indulgence, in less than 2 minutes, I will be done. The intention is to first, on the issue raised correctly so by the Teachers Union SATU on ITUC, we want, as this leadership, to profusely apologize, one, for that omission, but also because we had promised, after we reported that the General Secretary of ITUC had to leave, we are going to put a proposal shortly to that, but further to say that Owatu, who was supposed to give us a message, they also had to leave. Both, we asked them to record their message, and we have agreed that we will post both messages in the Cosatu website so that we will go on it and listen to it. But we really, really apologize Congress for that thing. Lastly, it is to, in front of this Congress, thank this leadership collective, the 6 of us, for working together in steering the ship and carrying through the mandates that you have given us. At the office of the president, it is to specifically, and I can say it is on behalf also of the first deputy president, to congratulate the incoming leadership and thank this outgoing leadership as a whole and say, aluta continua, comrades, nibambe nje kanjalo. In that context and with the powers bestowed on me as the outgoing president of the Congress of the South African Trade Unions, I dissolve these national office bearers and they can step down.
Thank you, Comrade President.
Thank you, comrades. Thank you, comrades. We are now ready to declare the outcome of the elective process. And before I declare the new leadership, let me first thank the Cosatu Secretariat for having enlisted the services of the Elections Agency to conduct this process for you. And in moving into the announcements, I would like to declare the results of the new leadership, that all 6 positions have been duly elected unopposed, and the following is the outcome as per the nominations. in the order they appear in the Constitution. For President, I would like to call upon the new President, Comrade Zingiswa Losi. Comrade President, to the floor. Thank you, comrades. Thank you, comrades. We're moving on. We are moving on to our next position. The next position is that of First Deputy President, equally elected unopposed. We've got Comrade Michael Madala Shingange. Comrade, please come forward. Thank you, comrades. We are moving on. Thank you, comrades. The next position is that of Thank you, comrades. The next position is that of second deputy president, duly elected, unopposed. We now have Comrade Louise Tipe. Comrade Louise, please come forward. Thank you very much. We are moving on to the next position. We have the position of treasurer, and in this instance, duly elected unopposed, we've got Comrade Frida Oosthuizen. Comrade Frida.
Go latlhegile setlhako. O latlhegetsweng ke setlhako. Ke tla ilo change check ka sona, ke kopa latlhegetsweng ke setlhako a tlo se tsaya.
All right, live visuals here from Gallagher Estate here in Midrand. This is where things are unfolding. First draft of history. We see Zingi Salosi taking the reins of being the first female president of Cosatu. And of course, in its 33 years of existence, she's the first female of this federation that she'll be leading for the next 3 years in accordance to the constitution of Cosatu. And of course, a lot of celebration, ululation taking place here as the top 6 of leadership of Cosatu is being announced. Quite a lot of things having unfolded today as well. Begin Chalinchali, Secretary General of the Federation Cosatu, making some declarations that were actually deliberated by the more than 2,500 delegates who were attending this 4-day Congress. Of course, affirming that they will intensify their efforts for unity that will see the alliance, of course, going forward in terms of looking for, the rights and, of course, the needs of ordinary workers of the country. Now, on the podium, they are about to announce yet another member of the top 6 leadership of Cosatu.
Elected unopposed, we've got Comrade Peggy Nchalinchali.
Tina, awuthina sobabili nasathu sokwehlulwa. Awuthina, Tina, mandla. Sephawu. Tina.
Well, another appointment there, Begin Chalinchali being elected, of course, the General Secretary of Cosatu unopposed. An announcement just being made here live from Gallagher Estate here in Midrand. Let's listen in on some of the celebrations taking place there as they are singing the song Phakama. Ixesha lisondele. Celebrations continue indeed here at Gallagher Estate in Midrand. Of course, it's the fourth and the last day of the National Congress of Cosatu. We are seeing right now Begin Chalinjali returning to his position as the General Secretary of Cosatu. And of course, ululation continues to take place, celebrations with some of these of the unions, of course, affiliated to Cosatu, taking to the podium, the stage, in celebrating with Begin Chalinjali. A few minutes ago, Chalinjali was speaking on this Congress, addressing the 2,500 delegates, of course, pronouncing some of the declarations that were taken here following a lot of debate and discussions on a number of issues affecting workers in South Africa, and of course, again, saying that they are willing to work with the ANC as in the past, but on the basis of the fact that they don't just make unilateral decisions without consulting them, especially on issues affecting them as ordinary workers of the country. Of course, committing as well that they will remain truthful to their principles as the federation, which will include protection of workers' rights and of course fighting against the inequalities that still prevail. And of course, we've heard several times that there's been an issue of a wage gap between the female and male workers across all sectors, be it private or public sector in the country. So Begin Chalinjali affirming here that apparently they are going to make it a point that to make it a point that at least they fought that unity within the alliance. Let's listen in, of course, what's happening here at Gallagher Estate. All right, there is Deputy Secretary General of Cosatu, elected unopposed as well, Soli Petwe, being lifted to the stage as the celebrations continue to take place here in Gallagher Estate, Midrand. A new leadership, of course, being officially elected here in Midrand during this 4-day Congress. Last day today, Soli Petwe is from the Northwest. He's not new in the world of federations and of course trade unions in the country, now ascending to the position of being the Deputy Secretary General of Cosatu. Celebrations continue as the announcements continue to be made here. Of course. Among the declarations that have been made here by this Congress of Cosatu include the implementation of and signing the implementation of the national minimum wage and signing in by Parliament as soon as possible.
And I think it's prudent to now hand over to the chairperson of this session or the president. I'm not quite sure. Thank you, comrades.
I am done now. Okay, thank you. Okay, all right. Thank you. One of the issues of that this Congress has been deliberating on and actually has made a declaration on is to make it a point that the international community does receive the support from African countries, including the economy that continues to deteriorate in Africa. A call for work for inter-trade relations between the African countries has been made here. The Congress also declared that capitalism still seems to be a challenge when it comes to growing the economy, with about a large number of young people losing their job. Of course, now the Congress is saying that it's going to fight for for the job summit when it comes. It's going to fight for the fact that there must be ways and means to make sure that young people, especially who are loitering around the streets of the country, do find work as soon as possible. And of course, we understand that that job summit is going to come later this year. Cosatu saying that they will see to it that when it does come to the fore, they will make it a point that they make submissions there that will help alleviate the high rate of unemployment in the country. Then another burning issue that has been in the media recently was the fact that there are planned retrenchments by government in the public sector. That, of course, does come as a concern for Cosatu and its affiliates, saying that they will see to it that they fight against the retrenchments of workers. We've heard that as well, that about 30,000 workers are to be retrenched from government. But now Cosatu saying that they will make it a point that they hold President Cyril Ramaphosa, who spoke here when he was opening the conference, saying that that is not going to happen, saying that if it does happen, they'll hold him to account as to why would he have said that it's not going to happen, and yet they are seeing people being retrenched from work. And of course, on the issue of NHI, Cosatu says it will push for it to be implemented by 2026, the latest, saying that all the negotiations, deliberations and consultations that were to be made have now been officially done. Now the government must make sure that NHI, the National Health Insurance, does come to the fore and it's fully implemented by 2026. Okay. Yeah. Okay, sure. One of the unions who have taken to the fore here, who are affiliated to Cosatu, was NUM as well as SATU. They did highlight the fact that the issue of e-tolls needs urgent attention from them as affiliates of Cosatu and Cosatu as the mother body, because it does come as a challenge to many who are ordinary workers of the country, saying that the e-tolls must be scrapped off because they did cause quite a turmoil as the ANC, which is the ruling party, saw it's losing major metros in the country. It was as a result of the fact that the e-tolls were implemented against the will of the thousands and millions of workers in the country. Now they're calling for the Cosatu to push for that to be fast-tracked, and then we can see unions being a thing of the past year in South Africa. And another issue that did come to the fore in as far as declarations of this Congress are concerned was the safety in the workplace. Yesterday, Minister of Labour, Mildred Oliphant, alluding to the fact that one of her roles moving forward was to make it a point that she negotiates with all the stakeholders in the labour sector to make it a point that safety is considered, or rather taken quite seriously in the country, looking at the fact that the recent incident that we saw in the Johannesburg CBD, where a fire broke out at a government building, leaving 3 firefighters dead, saying that things like those need to be taken into account as soon as possible so that that could be avoided. And of course, now the conference saying that Minister Mildred Oliphant must make sure that she pushes forward for that agenda to be implemented as soon as possible. Right now at the stage here at Gallagher Estate Midrand, we see the top 6 being officially shown to the Congress here, receiving quite a resounding welcome. If you look at the fact that they were actually elected unopposed for all the positions. We see there Begin Chalinjali, the General Secretary, who retained his post, and of course next to him is the lady of the day, lady of the week, lady of the years to come, Zingi Swalosi, the new president of Cosatu, a first female president in 33 years of existence of this federation. We are yet to see then what she has in store for the movement, what plans she has to make it a point that she advances the interests of the workers, which many have been complaining, of course, that they were not being taken into consideration nor taken into account, but political interests have been in the forefront. Now, at a later stage, she will actually take to the podium and address the 2,500 delegates who are gathered here, lay a ground on what we can expect from her in the next couple of months and years.
Mandla, away two, Matla, Aluta, Trina, Cosatu, Trina. Long live the spirit of Elijah Bagai, long live. Long live the spirit of John Komomo, long live. Amandla, uzohamba nathi mkhululu hamba na. Oh hamba nathi, uzohamba na. Ayo Mandela, abakhululu bethu baseMzantsi Afrika, abakhululu bethu ayo Bahahi, abakhululu bethu base-South Africa, abakhululu bethu uzohamba nathi, uhambe nathi, uzohamba nathi. Oliver Tambo, abakhululu bethu baseMzantsi Afrika, abakhululu bethu ayo Sisulu, abakhululu bethu base-South Africa, abakhululu bethu uzohamba nathi, uhambe nathi, uzohamba nathi. Mandla. Thank you very much, comrades. We want to, on behalf of the National Office Bearers, thank the comrades who are conducting elections for all the time that they've been entrusted with this task up until the announcement that has just concluded. Before we're going to call the President to close the Congress, the comrade Mpo has requested to do a short poem for this Congress as we rise from this Congress. Comrade Mpo, quickly. And we know that we're not going to vote anymore, but there's a comrade from Pope who has got a voting card here. Comrade Family Kefu. Important to keep this thing at home to show that you were here in this Congress, in the historic Congress of Cosatu. So please come and collect your card.
Amanda. Hey. Cosatu. Cosatu dirile metlholo. Cosatu tshusitse lefatshe. Ba re ba lebella ba bona bohibidu, ba bona mosetla, ba bona bontsho. Ba re ba lebella ba bona mokwatla o mokima. Ba bona mokwatla o sephara. Ba iputsa re mokwatla o kwaeng. Ka re banna ba Cosatu di dietsantšha ba mogolokwane. Tiro e le dirileng ga se tiro ya mang fela. Tiro e le dirileng ke tiro e natlafatsang lefatshe. Badiri ba tlile go ema ka maoto, go nna mosadi go ema o nne moeteledipele ga se tsameko. ka re Cosatu o dirileng ka re ka sekgowa gathe stand firm chest out tie your laces re tla basadi re fo ka re basadi re fo ra leta e re retela pele ba dire ka mosfatsi mona ba re bona ke re Cosatu ke ele gate mosetsana ke mosetsana losi o tlhaga kae gate mosadi ke mosadi Frida ko tshwarang Ramatlotlo gate mme ke mme Louisa o tlhaga kae ko o itse go dira ba badiri ke baeteledi pele ba badiri gate lefatshe le bona phetogo e tlileng ka Cosatu gate lefatshe retsang Cosatu tswella pele.
Thank you very much, Comrade Mpo. Indeed, it's a historic Congress. Comrades, there are some lost and found glasses here, but they have also broken in the process. They are reading glasses, but in the process they got broken, but you can still come and get the frame. Emzabalazu, Gotalam Tanam, Wakalwa. Sabalazu, Gotalam Tanam, Wakalwa. Uzunga, Limtanam, Uzunga. Comrades, I'm going to ask all of us I'm going to lead a song as we invite the President of the Federation, Comrade Zingiswa Losi, to close this 13th National Congress of Cosatu. Entate baha etibela, entate otibela, o kantle, kiba sebetsi o kantle, kima puchwa kantle, kiba sebetsi kantle, kima puchwa entate. Atibela mapu date baha tibela mapuja kantle kiba sebetse kantle kidinwa madi kantle kiba sebetse kantle kidinwa madi
Amandla. Long live Cosatu, 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 long live. Philangona Phakade, the African National Congress, Philangona Phakade. Philangona Phakade, the South African Communist Party, Philangona Phakade. Long live Usanko, long live. Long live the progressive PYA, long live. Malibongwe, igama lamakhosikazi. Long live the undying spirit of Comrade Elijah Bahai, long live. Long live the undying spirit of John Gomomo, long live. Long live the undying spirit of Mama Emma Mashinini, long live. Philangona Phakade, Winnie Madikizela Mandela, Philangona Phakade. Philangona Phakade, Nontsikelelo Sisulu, Philangona Phakade. Amandla. Two. Thank you very much, Deputy President Mike. Comrades, the outgoing Cosatu national office bearers, in particular, Comrade Dumo Dlamini and Comrade Giorgio James. The African National Congress, the South African Communist Party, SANCO, MDM leadership, international and domestic guests present here, including media institutions and Congress delegates, please kindly receive our profound and revolutionary greetings. Comrades delegates, We have now come to the end of the resoundingly successful 13th National Congress of our glorious and class-orientated trade union movement. The Congress of South African Trade Unions, on behalf of the newly elected collective of the National Office Bearers, I shall now make the closing remarks to bid farewell to all of you, one and all, as we make our way back to our workstations and to implement our bold undertakings and program of action. Similarly, to our alliance delegates and the delegates of the formations of the mass democratic movement and our international friends, both from our own continent and abroad, we thank you for gracing our Congress with your attendance and pledge to strengthen our relations going forward. Comrades, I am humbly standing in front of you now even more confident and convinced that indeed this militant trade union movement of Elijah Bahai is once again rising. As the leadership, we are confident that this Cosatu, emerging from this 13th National Congress, is on a steady but surely recovery tragedy and definitely ready to meet its workplace, organizational, socio-economic, political, and international challenges that lie ahead. Clearly, our challenges, comrades, and difficulties are many, but the resolutions that we have debated and adopted provide us with a clear and practical way forward, and they place us on a realistic media-term platform to forge a strong and fighting weapon for all workers in our country. As we rise to conclude this watershed Congress, it will be remiss of me not to acknowledge the historic and far-reaching step that Cosatu has taken at this Congress. Cosatu is communicating a clear message for the world and the country to know that women within the ranks of this radical trade union movement are ready to take the responsibility at the sharpest end of the struggles of emancipation of all women in our society. We're gearing ourselves, comrades, to occupy the front ranks and cold face as the organized and class consciousness detachment of the broader working class women, which is the primary motive force of the women's emancipation struggle. We must strengthen and advance women's struggles at the workplace, in our communities, and in the broader political terrain. Practical and active involvement in struggles in itself, itself part of the emancipatory process. And together with our progressive allies in the trade union movement, we have at this Congress built and advanced on the long and proud history of women leadership in the workers' struggle. Comrades, delegates, this should not be an isolated achievement, but part of our sustained and conscious efforts of broadening active participation of women at all levels of our unions, and we must seriously take the task of building capacity and ideological training on gender and patriarchy, not only for women, but also for our male members, shop stewards, officials, and leaders. It is not an exaggeration to say that this class consciousness detachment of organized workers in South Africa in the fold of Cosatu is once again making history and opening a new chapter that will go down in our proud historical annals of trade union women leadership. We indeed have a long chain of pioneering trade union leaders, now for over a century, from the militant Mary Fitzgerald, Johanna Cornelius, Ray Alexander Simons, Francis Bard, Liz Abrahams, to Charlotte Maxeke, the founder member of the South African Native National Congress, the forerunner to the ANC and the Bantu Women's League, and the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, ICU, who in the publication Umthetheli Wabantu sharply raised and addressed the woman question. These are the icons, heroines, and martyrs, not only for the working people, but also for the broader working class. They have laid the foundation of our militant trade union movement. Your collective decision in this regard is indeed a tribute to these women leaders, the shop stewards, and countless others who were ordinary members, and all of those who for years tirelessly worked to build strong women leaders inspired by our own long-standing battle cry, Wathini abafazi, wathini imbokodo. Comrades, because of your bold decision out of this watershed Congress, I am now finding myself standing on these broad and strong shoulders of the legendary and gallant women leaders such as Jabu Ndlovu, Violet Siboni, and Ematandi Mashinini, amongst others, who was also fondly known as the Tiny Giant, the founder of Kawusa, and indeed one of the founding leaders of Cosatu. Of course, there are countless other trade union women leaders for which I shall forever be indebted, and I dare say that I shall do everything in my power and ability to work with the collective leadership of the national office bearers of our federation, whom you have also unanimously elected in this Congress, as well as the leaders of our affiliates, big or small, private or public sector. Our new leadership, comrades, reflects who we are as the federation, and we shall together lead this organization to grow from strength to strength. This Workers' Parliament has issued a clear directive to all layers of leadership in our ranks, to our provincial leaders, organizers, officials, shop stewards, that let us build and deepen unity, fight corruption and factionalism in these workers' organizations. And together, comrades, as this collective leadership in front of you and with the leadership of all the affiliates, we are saying in one voice that we shall steer our federation to scale new heights. Comrades, we cannot remain static or stagnant, otherwise we shall die. We must make giant steps forward. We have to make sure that when we meet again at our 14th National Congress, we would be stronger, bigger, and even strategically clear, with many of our resolutions across our pillars being implemented. Comrades, we are inspired by our glorious past, and so we are saying, let's go back to the basics in order to strengthen our foundation, but also to build a radical trade union movement of the future. In these rapidly changing conditions and terrain of struggle today, comrades, in this changing world of work and global capitalism of the approaching age of the fourth industrial revolution, the organized workers of our country are facing the real catastrophe of job losses if they remained weak and divided as they are. Unity is our clarion call. And as Cosatu, we are proudly of Marxism-Leninism and NDR as our theoretical and strategic guide to action. Therefore, comrades, in our theory and practice, we must remain steadfast in proclaiming the call of the Communist Manifesto, and I quote, "Workers of the world, unite." This must remain our guiding principle in our active involvement in the activities of ITUC and WFTU, and in working with all our international friends and allies. Capitalism is a global system, and the working class must unite if it is to defend itself in the face of intensifying exploitation, and if it is to make advances for socialism. This must be our long-term objective, especially in our continent and in the region. Comrades, over the past weeks, we have seen the impressive upsurge in mass mobilization and protest by the organized workers of Swaziland under the banner of Tukoswa. The 3 days legal strike action that ended today is already a resounding success, and as agreed, we shall step up our own solidarity action, and this time involving each and every affiliate of Cosatu. We have also agreed to reach out and to strengthen our relationship with the radical trade union movement in Venezuela and Cuba, the revolutions that are under sustained attacks. Once again, comrades, our Congress has reaffirmed our commitment to the internationalist and solidarity struggles on the side of the people of Western Sahara, Palestine, and to step up our campaign against the US blockade on Cuba. Comrades, we call on the South African government to implement the Nasrec resolution on the immediate and unconditional downgrade of the embassy in Tel Aviv. It is now more than 6 months since the withdrawal of our ambassador. We therefore call for the decisiveness on the part of the ANC government in this regard. Similarly, we believe that our government can do more to push back against the corrupt advances that Israel and Morocco are making within the African Union. Comrades, we can say with confidence that now we have truly emerged from the worst chapter in the gallant history of Cosatu. It is now closed, and we are still here, strong and confident of our future, and we shall use this bitter experience in the interest of our federation and members. But we know, comrades, whilst we were bogged down by our internal paralysis and instability, the bosses were intensifying exploitation of workers and destroying jobs. Today, since the 2009 recession, we have an even more fragmented trade union landscape and even lower rate of unionization. Yet, job security, wage levels, and benefits have been declining. For the working class, the current recession is not technical. It is a real living experience. It represents declining income and rising cost of living. Mining, construction, and manufacturing have been on the sustained decline for a long time. Actually, comrades, since the 2009 recession, we are saying to the ANC government that the job summit must not be a public relation exercise for the bosses. It is a job summit, and therefore it must help to deliver jobs. It must be a meaningful platform to agree on an immediate economic stimulus package, on the real moratorium on job destruction by the bosses. And by the way, this includes moratorium in the public service. We know more than any class about the seriousness of the crisis levels of unemployment, poverty, and inequality that is engulfing our society, because each of us, our members, directly provide social security for many of the more than 15 million people who are not economically active, on top of the taxes that we are paying. So as the Alliance, we cannot afford to go to the 2019 elections whilst these symptoms of the underlying structural fault lines of our economy are worsening. We must provide real hope to our people based on decisive and concrete interventions. We cannot rely, comrades, just on the post-Nasrec euphoria that is now fading away. We must challenge ourselves, each of the alliance components, to seriously commit to the goal of winning an overwhelming 2/3 victory in the 2019 election in order to secure the return of the land to our people without compensation. Comrades, the reconfiguration of the alliance would be a massive boost towards the achievement of such a decisive victory. We are saying to the ANC government that from Nasrec, you have a clear mandate to practicalize the radical second phase of our transition. And indeed, from Polokwane, Mangaung to Nasrec, the resolutions provide a clear framework. From the resolutions required, the Constitution, from the radical second phase. So there is no need to delay any further, not at all, because the resolutions are quite clear. What we only need is the implementation. And these resolutions, comrades of the ANC, resonate with our own policies as Cosatu. The growth path towards full employment, and hence, as the Federation, we must work with the South African Communist Party to build the Popular Front to drive campaigns around the agenda of the radical second phase. The national health insurance, the land question, education, the mandate of the Reserve Bank, and all issues of our campaigns. We have heard the messages from our vanguard party, the South African SACP, the South African Communist Party, loud and clear. That is, though practical struggles, that the alliance would be reconfigured, rather than in that we need practical struggles because no alliance will be reconfigured in the boardroom. To have a reconfigured alliance, boardroom politics would not deliver a reconfigured alliance. We have to be together on the ground as an alliance, comrades. Before I sit down, I want to leave you with this message from Charlotte Maxeke, and I quote, "This work is not for yourself, for yourselves. Kill that spirit of self and don't live above your people, but live with them. And if you can raise, bring someone with you," close quote. Comrade, once again, thank you very much for your all-round contribution to the success of this Congress. Thank you for your discipline and active participation. And now, on behalf of the newly elected leadership collective of the national office bearers of our glorious movement, I wish you well on your journey back home. I also want to thank the staff of Cosatu for the sterling work that you have done as we were preparing for this 13th National Congress. Indeed, on behalf of the former national office bearers and the current leadership, we want to say thank you very much. Ningadinwa nangomso. I also want to take this opportunity to thank my family for coming all the way from PE, Port Elizabeth, to come and grace this occasion. Indeed, I am truly humbled by the support you have given me, unwavering, unjudgmental. When the road had potholes, you held my hand and you identified the potholes and you allowed me to be able to notice them and not fall victims of those potholes. I really thank you, my father, my sisters, my children, my nieces that are here today. Thank you very much, comrades, and I wish you well going back home. Amandla. I declare the Congress closed.
Media houses, you are requested to come near the stage. There will be a presser for the newly elected NOBs, media houses. Someone took the phone from the podium, which was recording from the media. Kindly return it back. A phone taken from the podium, kindly return it back.
Well, the appointment of Zingiswa Losi as the new Cosatu president, being the female, continues to receive resounding welcome across the country. Amongst those who are excited about this appointment is her twin sister, Zamela. She joins me now. Siswam, hello to you and thank you so much for your time. How do you feel as the Losi and Machoba family for your sister's achievement?
Hi, Abongele. We are so proud of her and we trust that she will continue to do the great work she's doing. We are fully supporting.
And of course, I know Zingis, having been in a position to interview her before, having been in a boardroom with her, seeing that she was attending meetings of Cosatu. But tell us about how she is at home in New Brighton, sitting with you guys as a family.
Uzingi, she's a fun, like going out. She loves her family very much. And recently we just lost our mother, which was a devastating time for the family. But through the prayers, because we are a praying family, we believe in God. So if she's not at church, she's at home with her family.
Of course, talking about your mother who passed away in April this year, it would have been her birthday this week. How do you think she would have reacted and felt seeing that your sister is now holding this high position in Cosatu?
Oh, Umam Tem, she was going to be very proud of her. And you know, when she was still alive, she will always say to her, you know that you are taking all this from me because I was once one of those freedom fighters. And at work, she was also part of the union. So she was going to be very proud of her.
Tell us more about your mother being a freedom fighter. The fact that she might have inspired Zingiswa to be what she is today. What is it that exactly that you think she took from your mother?
Everything. The leadership skills, she took them from our late mother, because she was not scared of anything, especially for her rights as the worker. She used to work at Mpilweni Hospital, where there were union members, and she died fighting for their rights as workers. So she was going to be very proud.
You say even Zingiswa is a fighter. She's a woman. She's holding the highest position in Cosatu. What's your main message to your twin sister as she takes the reins of being the president of Cosatu?
To my better half, she must stay strong, and she must know that we as the family have friends who are always behind her. And we are praying for her so that God can give her the strength, because now there are so many challenges. And as a female, she must know that we are fully behind her and supporting her. We love her.
Siswam, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Abons.
Well, there you have it, Zamela Losi, a twin sister to Zingiswa Losi, the new president of Cosatu, giving those words of wisdom to her twin sister. With that, it's back to you in studio.
Because the side.
That's delay again. Cut you off.
Can they just switch it on so that we can call Mike?
Yeah, the switch is off.
Or the whole system?
Yeah, the whole system. Yeah.
Mike.
Shingange silinde nang yes. Watla. Okay, watla.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not
being nice. Khuluma lento le say ya tape.
Tape.
Igama layo ngikhambe.
No.
Secretariat.
Wemas?
Kanisondele ngalo.
Wena
President. Oh, the address.
Auntie bazofunda. Oh no.
Huh?
Can I have the declaration?
Members of the media, we welcome your presence. With us from the first day on the 17th up until today. It's not a full presser. The NOBs will announce a full presser. Here is just to introduce them formally to yourself as colleagues who will be directly interacting with them. We'll just use the opportunity to introduce them formally. From this side, the left, is Comrade Soli Petwe, the Deputy General Secretary. Comrade Begin Chalinjali, the General Secretary. Comrade Zingi Swalosi, the President. Comrade Michael Shingange, the First Deputy President. Comrade Luis Tipe, the Second Deputy President. Comrade Frida Oosthuizen, the National Treasurer. We will allow you to pose 3 questions, and if you are more generous, we'll allow you more. But they've got other arrangements that are done with media houses to speak to them. Apart from that, they've got a scheduled meeting thereafter. Bear with us kindly. We will request the media, because you have been here since day one, you have been packaging the issues that were raised in plenary, in the discussion documents, and we will give the first 3. If we are generous, we'll give the last 3 questions. Shall we identify media houses who will pose questions? Identify yourself, the name of your media house, and kindly pose your short question. No paraphrasing. Media house, the stage is open for you. The first one, media. Identify yourself. This way. Teto Masakwani, Business Day. Let's get the mic.
The only question.
Yes, the second one, Amy, just identify yourself for record purposes.
Didn't get that.
No, before
Yes, please. You can just finish off.
Okay. Hi. All right. Sorry. Okay, so hi, Amy again. Okay. I said I've attended a lot of Cosatu congresses, and a lot of what you guys have been saying today I've heard before. Okay. And you admitted that swelling the ranks didn't work, and that's why you're looking at a reconfigured alliance again. I want to know how you are going to prove to the ANC that you're not crying wolf. Because your members, when you guys read your declaration, a lot of them said today, listen, if the ANC doesn't come to the party, then we want the SACP. I mean, so, yeah, how is it going to be different this time?
Can I get the first question?
The first question she didn't hear, sorry. Yeah, I was just congratulating you on being the first female president of Cosatu. It's quite a feat, okay. And I was just wondering if you've got any, I mean, you did speak about it in your speech, but if you've got any concrete ideas yet how you're going to take, you know, the female issues forward.
I'm Lawrence Mitchell from Telesur. One of the key issues is obviously solidarity of workers of the South. What are the active steps Cosatu will take forward to make sure that unity and solidarity will be forged amongst the workers of the South?
We'll allow the national office bearers to respond.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure if it's audible.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take all of them. I'll leave others for other NOPs. On the question by Teto, what will be the signs that will show us that Cosatu is rising? The first thing that we need to do coming out of this Congress is to go back, as one has said, to our workplaces to really implement our own resolution. If we fail to implement resolutions that we have taken in this Congress, it will be the opposite. These are the decisions that Congress has taken, and these are the steps to implement those decisions. Indeed, it will be the first signs that Cosatu is rising. Secondly, it will be the issue of forging unity amongst ourselves as workers. So when leaders begin to unite the trade unions that they are leading, and workers are united over issues that are confronting them at the workplace, we will begin to see the signs of a Cosatu that is rising. When workers are no longer divided over their leaders, but are more united over the issues that are confronting them at the workplace. Amy, on the concrete ideas taking forward the women issues in the Federation, as you would have known that in this Congress, we have in the amendments of the Constitution, firstly, for the first time, constitutionalized the gender structure of the Federation. And that becomes the first step towards concretely taking issues of women forward. And secondly, it will be also for the women in the Federation to remain united. And I must also say that Cosatu has done a number of work in capacitating women in the Federation. Recently, as we were coming from Geneva, attending the International Labour Conference, we there were confronted with a commission that was dealing with sexual harassment and violence in the workplace, where employers did not want to take any responsibility towards the definition of a worker and also taking any responsibility towards those that they don't perceive as workers. And at the same time, government, particularly in Africa, went ahead and did not want to have anything that's got to do with the LGBTQI community. So coming back from that, Cosatu convened a gender workshop where we invited the CCMA to come and make a presentation so that we are able to understand at the level of CCMA how have we been performing as trade unions in defense of women in the workplace when they are reporting issues of sexual harassment and sexual violence. So by capacitating women to understand the Constitution and their rights that are enshrined in the Constitution, to understand their rights as women in the workplace in terms of the laws that are in this country in relation to the Labor Relations Act and Basic Conditions of Employment Act, Employment Equity Act, it would enable us to take forward the women's struggle. Thank you very much.
Okay, on the alliance. No, thanks. Am I audible? On the MA, the issue of the alliance and the fact that what you've been hearing here is not for the first time you hear it. What will be different, therefore? You correctly said that Congress, through delegates, put almost an ultimatum to this process of reconfiguration of the alliance. Never before, as when we spoke about a reconfigured alliance or the unity of the alliance or the alliance as a strategic center of political power, never before have we said, in fact, we do have options. If you, as you started with us in this Congress, when we were discussing political resolutions, there was a view that every time we go to elections, we don't just vote because we like your face or your colors. It is because as a masses, we're fighting for concrete conditions and to change the lifestyle or the conditions of life where we live. And therefore, they will be different because the resolutions are clear what must happen in case the reconfiguration of the alliance doesn't happen. It's unlike before. It's not an open-ended thing. But secondly, post-Nazareth, both the South African Communist Party and the African National Congress have demonstrated a willingness that has never been demonstrated before and a commitment on this matter of the reconfiguration of the alliance. It has never happened that immediately 3 months after the conference, meetings are held to discuss the content and the modalities of the reconfiguration of the alliance. So we are hopeful because there's a demonstration of the willingness on that matter. So, but like I'm saying, the fundamental point is that it is not an open-ended. We have a mandate from this conference to pursue other alternative in case this matter of the reconfiguration doesn't work.
On the question of the building solidarity in the South in a practical way, firstly, you may not know that Zingiswa is the president of SATUC, which is the South African Trade Union Coordinating Committee here in SADC in dealing with those issues. And we took this decision consciously because we believe that sometimes Cosatu has to take the responsibility and lead because resources in this country and trade union are not the same in dealing with those issues. We had to put her in our delegation to go to the ILO to try to coordinate the same unions wherever they are so that we can agree on a program. We invited most of the union that we have invited here. All the union of the South were invited to come to this meeting. We in the week of the Venezuela solidarity, we sent her to go there, observe, so that we can be able to get the same situation. We've taken a conscious decision that we want to have programs. We want to send unions to Venezuela to learn the situation that is confronting ordinary people in Venezuela and how they respond. We will go to Palestine in dealing with those particular issues. We want to have exchange programs. In other words, you invite people. We got Dizila, for an example, in here, which is teaching trade union many capacity. We want to invite union as part of the Cosatu people to get trained here by Dizila in dealing with those issues. We want unions to have like a must-study work of that kind, that they can invite union in Swaziland in the sector and put that official as an organizer of a particular union here, maybe for a period of 6 months, going to organize, recruit, understand, be involved in negotiation, so that when he goes back home, he can be able to deal with those issues. We are working very hard with the ILO training center, the Turin Center, that rather than us going to Turin, which is very expensive, we want to get a kind of a partnership that they must send the teachers and the material to South Africa, so that the space of getting more people trained is made easy in dealing with those issues. We're participating in what we call SICTU, the South Initiative on Globalization and Trade Union Rights, which we had a conference now, I think, in Argentina in dealing with those things. We fully participate in that particular processes. We've been participating, but lately very weak, in the World Social Forum, which really talk about the issues of the South in terms of those issues. So we do have some program on how to deal with those particular issues. We're trying to set union to union, so that if there's a union, take ShopRite for an example. South African company, if it has exploit other people in there, we should be able to engage in that particular, whether it's a boycott or putting pressure in the South African as a head office if they are in South Africa, to put pressure on behalf of those workers. But we are also prepared to learn from them what kind of solidarity they need from us, Cosatu and Cosatu Union. So this is just a gist of it, that we want to do it in practical terms, where what kind of building the other trade union. We have to learn from them. We understand other unions in the continent. They are able to organize domestic workers, farm workers. We are struggling. We are struggling to organize domestic workers. We are struggling to go from house to house in dealing with those issues. We are struggling to organize farm workers. We want to learn from them in dealing with those issues. But it's also important for us that when there are economic refugees coming from other countries, they should know their right. You should not then say, no, because I'm not documented, I'm coming from Mozambique, it's okay for me to be exploited. Our law says every worker is equal, and we want to practicalize that kind of an arrangement.
Can I make an addition?
Maybe we can also, let me allow the president to add.
Okay, thanks. Thanks. Just a slight addition on the issue around solidarity. That yes, and the GS has just said it, that amongst the affiliates there are sister unions whereby the bulk of work is done there. And an example was given of the ShopRite and the global agreements that we sign with those companies. But comrades, even though the difficulties may be there from those countries that we try to forge that solidarity, but we haven't, as Cosatu said, we despair. We even go to countries where, I remember at some point we were denied entry in one country just because we were seen as, and the aim was, of course, to go there and have exchange programs. But we do, as affiliates with our sister unions out there. try to close that very gap of worker-to-worker solidarity. Thanks.
You wanted to add? Okay.
Yeah.
Should we close with the scheduled interviews? Yeah, the scheduled interviews so that we will be able to close the deal. Suggest that the president make the final way for the DS and then we close it down.
Okay. Colleagues, we are affording them the final wait. They are scheduled one-on-one that have been arranged. Comrade Sizwe will guide on that regard. Let's give them the final wait and then we wrap up. Okay, President, the answer.
No, thank you, Norman. I wanted to make an addition on the issue of solidarity, just to also allow yourself to appreciate that as a federation, we have also twinned our provinces for the purposes of effecting that solidarity. The province of Free State is twinned with Lesotho. The province of Mpumalanga is twinned with Swaziland. The province of Limpopo is twinned with Zimbabwe. The province of Northwest is twinned with Botswana. So in the SADC,
Northern Cape and Namibia.
or Northern Cape is twinned with Namibia. So it is exactly for the purpose that it becomes easier for trade unions in these in that country and in the province that is sharing a border to be able to share the experiences. We have so many successful engagements. We have even, because Cosatu is also running a Krisani brigade, where in our own provinces, as we have twinned them, we will also train comrades that are in those different countries. They come to South Africa, in each and every province, they gain trained into the Krisani Brigade on a number of issues, and then when they go back, they are more capacitated to deal with issues in their own country. That as far as we have taken the issues of solidarity to a practical level in dealing with those matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There are scheduled interviews. Comrade Sizwe will guide the national office bearers about that. Comrade Sizwe coming over? No, it's fine. Thank you, media.
Okay, Mapila. Because what about for Nugusbon and Trump?
Yeah, but maybe because my boy better corner.
Nanjengoko namhlanje kubhalwe imbali kubonwa owokuqala wasetyhini ezakuthatha imikhala aqhuzule ekhokhela iCosatu uzingiswa losi abantu abaninzi bachulumancile kuquka newele lakhe usizamela enkunye naye ngoku sizamela siyakubulisa enkosi kakhulu niziva njani lelo sapho lokwalosi nalwa kwamatshoba ngale mpumelelo kazingiswa
Enkosi kakhulu Abosh silusapho siyavuyisana naye and siyazinca ngozingiswa imisebenzi yakhe because ke uzingiswa ngumuntu ozinikelayo kwento ayenzayo namhlanje iyangqinwa ngabasebenzi baseMzantsi Afrika lonto xa bemonyulela kule position iphezulu kangaka silusapho siyazinca ngaye kakhulu
make sisuke ke ngoku kuzingiswa eseofisini ephangele eyinkokheli yeCosatu simthatha siyombeka enye uBright eBay ungumuntu onjani pha ekhaya
uzingiswa ngumuntu owonwabisayo xa khona endlini unontombi ke akamdanga backpacking ungumuntu othanda bamakuphunywe uyotyiwa kodwa ke kuba mnandi xa esekhaya nangona ixesha abasekhaya ngalo lilifutshane ngenxa yomsebenzi kodwa xa efikile